Everyone wants to take their business, their skills, to the next level. Small and mid-sized business owners have exceptional insight into how to do this. They endure and thrive because they find ways to overcome the challenges that come their way, and they can teach us valuable lessons to apply to our own companies and lives. Stephen Nooner, founder and owner of Alkali, a company with a unique process that helps businesses more effectively buy and manage their insurance programs. And Bob Gibbons, builder of Riata Commercial Realty, a real estate advisor and tenant advocate, are two prominent Metroplex businessmen who, along with their weekly guests, will ask their and your probing questions, finding impactful solutions that will help you reach for the next level. Here are your hosts, Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons.
Welcome to The Next Level, conversations that propel business. This is your host, Bob Gibbons.
And I'm Stephen Nooner.
Thanks for joining us this week. We've got a great show for you again and an interesting guest with some really cool stuff that we haven't heard before from anyone else. And our show exists to support and honor the entrepreneurial community by acting as a catalyst for personal and professional growth within that community. And we always like to start off with wisdom from others. Stephen, so what is the wisdom from others you have for us today?
Today's wisdom is from Winston Churchill. He said, if you're going through hell, keep going.
I like that.
Keep going. You missed it, I guess.
Is that to try and get out of it?
Yes, and get out of it, right? Don't stop and sit around and take a look. I don't know what he meant.
I was waiting for the interpretation.
Yeah, well, you know, I thought I'd let you marinate on it there, Bob. I know it
I
takes
also
a minute
liked his
sometimes.
quote about that woman that he was always arguing with, where she said, if you were my husband, I'd give you poison. And he said, if you were my wife, I'd drink it.
I don't know about that.
I don't know what her name was, but
funny.
There's a lot of cool ones.
Well, very, very excited. It's with great pleasure that I get to introduce our next level guest for today. Cortney Baker is the CEO and owner and builder of Kids Care Therapy, a 300-employee, high-quality pediatric home health care services company that specializes in children with special needs. And if that wasn't enough, Cortney is also the founder of Baker Management Group, a leadership training and coaching company that specializes in helping executive level women reach their fullest potential. If you'd like to learn more about either Kids Care Therapy or Baker Management Group, visit them at kidscaretherapy.com or bakermanagementgroup.com. Boy, you lucked out on those, didn't you? Welcome, Cortney.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
So you're a twofer in one, a double entrepreneur. That's cool. We're excited to have you here.
That. Thank you.
Well, we always like to start off with gratitude. And so what is it, Cortney, that you're grateful for today?
Wow. Mostly my family and the support they've given me on this journey. I couldn't do it without all of them. My husband and my 3 kids, so and then my extended family as well, helping me out with everything.
Very nice. Thank you.
That's awesome. And your husband's actually here supporting you today. A great friend as well.
Yes, he is.
Yes. So that was actually leads us to the first question is tweeted in from one of your fans that wanted to know, Cortney, out of you and Jason, your husband, who owns more shoes?
Oh, Steve, that's a hard one.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. Don't do it.
Have to say me on that one.
All right.
The fact you even have to ask that question tells me a lot about Jason.
He's got a lot of cool shoes.
Didn't know.
I have a lot of shoes myself, so it's okay today. It's the bro code. We're supposed to, step it up.
Okay.
All right. Well, getting into things, Cortney, as I was preparing for today and having known you for many years and really just very privileged to count you as a friend, I was really thinking through and what I realized is as excited as I am to talk about Baker Management Group, what I really think that most people would learn and be compelled and what's unique about Baker Management is your experience that you bring to it. And so I'd like to start just kind of backing up to like the early days, starting Kids Care Therapy. Share with us a little bit of the challenges and how you got the idea and how you got that started.
Oh, gosh. Well, we started in 2003, and I was working for a another agency at the time, and I'd been there for about 4 months, and I absolutely loved what I did, but I did not love. I've always been an entrepreneur spirit, so I decided that I wanted to emulate and create another pediatric home health care agency in the Dallas area. And really, that was my vision at the time, was to stay, even if I had to be the only therapist. I didn't really think big at the time. And so I started the agency. I mean, you came to the first house that we started in, and had a very creative marketing plan that, thank God, worked. And we started hiring right away, and grew to the level where we needed more therapists than I could be solely providing the care for. And we actually hired one of our first therapists, and she's still with us today as the president.
Wow. Now, why did you start it? Was it just because you wanted to own your own company, or was there something that you saw needed in the market that wasn't being offered?
I really liked pediatric home care, and it was a niche market, and there was only 2 agencies, and I didn't really want to work for someone else. I wanted to do it myself, and so at 28, you know everything, so why not go out and start your own company? And it was a very crazy, rocky time, because Jason and I had just gotten married, and we had our first daughter in July 1st, and then Kids Care opened the doors October 27th of that same year.
Wow.
So
new husband, new baby, new business.
New home, new everything.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Glutton for punishment.
I know. I always say no one ever questions my sanity, because they know it's not there anymore.
So you get it up, and you're taking on more and more patients. You realize it's more than you can handle. You're recruiting therapists. At what point did you realize, you come to the realization that I can't continue to do therapy? And what was that like for you?
That was really one of the challenging parts of business ownership for me, because we were going through some things internally with the company and some of the employees that were there. And I decided at that time I needed to take a more active role in the internal operations. And so I transitioned away. And that was hard, because I had some patients that had been with me for a long time, and it was a really hard to separate, and say, well, I'm going to relinquish you to someone else. And but I just determined, because it was my agency and I needed to know the daily operations, that it was something that I really needed to get in there and be cognizant of what was going on day in and day out.
So at what point did you sort of stop doing the therapy? I mean, how big were you, or how many therapists did you have, or, what was that critical mass that suddenly told you it was time?
I don't even, it was probably 2005, so we were probably about 2 years old. And actually, I had suffered a pulmonary embolism during 2005, and some things went on internally while I was in the hospital that I was later told about, and that's when I decided, I kind of had my health issue to fall back on, but that was when I decided I needed to really be more intentional about my time.
Okay.
And so then you're intentional, you're scaling the growth. I mean, you're continuing to grow, more patients, more therapists. And now you reach the point where now your leadership's not enough, and you start having to bring in other leadership. So talk about that journey and that process.
That journey really started from early on. It's funny, because our first One of our first therapists, like I said, she's our president, and then one of our first employees she was our receptionist, and her first day, she built her own chair to sit in, and she worked on my computer that I had in college, and it was the Dell Dinosaur, and she's still there, and she's part of the operations management team, and so, I've just been blessed to have really good, sound, solid people who not only believed in kids care and the vision and the mission and the ethics of the operation, but they believed in me. And during the trials and tribulations that we went through to keep the company afloat when we were going through all those employee personnel issues, we banded together and just stuck it out. And so I'm so thankful that they're there. But yeah, it's been quite the journey that we built that early on.
Do all the leaders in your company, are they all people that came in through the company and worked their way up, or do you have anybody that's come in from outside into a leadership position?
We have some people who've come in from the outside. As we've grown, we've definitely gone through growing pains, and there have been some employees that we don't have anymore that were really good, strong when we were at that position or place in our growth. And we've just kind of moved into we really hit a point where we decided we were going to be the company, the corporation, and not the mom and pop shop. And so we needed to really bring in new people to help us scale that better.
And that's a huge mental shift for you to make that jump.
Yeah.
And as you've done that now, I mean, as I've seen your leadership team blossom and grow and everything else, I know, one of the other things I said I wanted to start with the beginning and circle back into, it's really created some freedom for you. And so I think one of the things that's really exciting that you're involved in now is Baker Management Group. So talk a little bit about that. So how do you translate that experience? You're providing leadership coaching to executive women.
Yeah. Well, and I focus on women, but actually I would like to work with men as well to help in their journey and relationships, because I think that is such an interesting dynamic. But with Baker Management, yeah, it's I've been provided a lot of freedom and time to go back and get my doctorate, which I'm finishing up my dissertation. I will defend next month.
Congrats.
Where'd you get that?
Pepperdine.
Oh,
Pepperdine.
Yeah.
She's smart.
I'm just talking about campus.
Unfortunately, it wasn't the Malibu campus, but that probably kept me in class a lot more.
I would think.
Yeah. So that will be, I defend that October 21st. So it'll be, I guess, next week from this. So
You have a book coming out as well?
I do.
What? A book, too?
Yes.
Courtney doesn't sleep.
No, not
Man,
often.
She's never
Sleep
bored, that's
is
for sure.
overrated. But yeah, I've just been really blessed to have some good, strong support at Kids Care, so I can continue on in my ventures and diversify.
Great.
Well, there's a lot of power in, I think, what you're providing, in that you have not only the academics, but you have the real life, relatable, been there, done that experience. And so I think that's really one of the things that I'm really excited for you in seeing that, just what Baker Management's going to continue to do.
Thank you.
But we're going to go to a break now. But for the audience here, stick around because when we get back, we're going to talk about, so you're in the hospital with a pulmonary embolism, and you find out that two of your key employees, out of them, one is committing fraud and another is starting a competing company. What do you do?
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
And now, Confessions of a Recovering Landlord.
This is Bob Gibbons with Riata Commercial Realty, and I am your recovering landlord. After 20 years as a landlord, I now use that experience only for the benefit of companies that lease or buy office buildings and warehouses. Today's confession: never exercise your renewal option. Now, I know that sounds crazy, right? Why would you get a renewal option if you don't ever plan to use it? Well, a renewal option is really just a reservation for your space, which prevents the landlord from leasing your space out to someone else, leasing it out from under you. Some options actually bind you to an extended term before you even know what the rental rate will be. But that rental option was created 3, 5, or even 10 years ago when you signed your lease and may not work for you today. Fortunately, there is a way, an easy way, to renew your lease without the risk of exercising your renewal option. To learn what that is, please contact me at www.texastenantrep.com. Again, that's texastenantrep.com.
Want to create a breakthrough in your business or personal life? Here's a tip. Stop shopping for insurance and insurance agents. Begin looking for a way to more effectively buy and manage your insurance. At Alkali, that is exactly what we provide. The freedom you create by changing this mindset alone will make an impact. Plus, you can stop listening to all the insurance commercials on TV and radio, unless they're funny, of course. Are you an insurance novice or just want to take things to the next level? Knowledge is power. Come join us for the single most important class that you never took in business school. We have the following upcoming classes that we teach through Collin College and the Small Business Development Center. Thursday, September 24th, Protecting Your Business 202. Thursday, October 15th, Healthcare Reform. What the health is going on? Thursday, November 19th, Protecting Your Business 101. To sign up or learn more, visit us at alkaliservices.com. That's Alkali, ALKALI, services with an S.com.
Hi, this is Terry Pham, CEO of Fat Straws. Has listening to Bob and Steven put you in a sour mood? Well, come on by Fat Straws and mention Next Level Show and receive a complimentary bubble tea guaranteed to sweeten your day. We have 2 locations, one in West Plano and one over by the Galleria. This offer will be valid through October 20th.
We are back with Cortney Baker, CEO and co-owner of Kids Care Therapy and Baker Management Group. If you want to learn more about Cortney, visit kidscaretherapy.com or bakermanagementgroup.com.
So, Cortney, we've had some pretty interesting conversations with you thus far, and there's all kinds of things going on in your life that I just can't quite comprehend how they all happen at once. So, this is going to be a hard question for you, but what is the biggest breakdown that you've had that has turned into a breakthrough?
That was kind of what you alluded to a little bit before the break, and that was the employee personnel struggle that we were going through. I had someone who was our top grossing therapist producing ridiculous amounts of visits, and then come to find out it was Medicaid fraud, and that was really a hard time for us. We were just to the point where we were not operating in the red anymore, and not putting payroll on mine and Jason's credit cards. And I firmly believe that you have to do the right thing even when no one is looking, and so I turned it in to the OIG, and I also paid the money back. And then found out that someone else in our office was taking proprietary information, and so I had a couple of employees come out and tell me what was going on, and that was a really hard struggle, but it was a breakthrough because it also at the same time Jason and I got stronger because I looked to him and said, I really need help at the office. I'm having a hard time with running the books and balancing everything, and, I'm not strong in checkbooks and numbers and math in general, so I just said, I really need you to come. And his first day, we didn't even know what his title was, but he's still there, and he's our CFO now. And luckily, I'm not balancing the checkbook anymore.
Where do you have to focus on all that you have going on? Where do you have to focus to stay on track?
Oh, I think I'm just a very focused individual. For one, on Strengths Finders, I'm a firm believer in knowing your strengths and knowing how to play to those, and my strengths, my top two are learner and achiever. And so
Totally see that.
yeah.
Totally get it.
So it's funny because, you know, Jason's to the point where he's like, Cortney, stop with school. You're done. You're done. I'm so tired of tuition. But that's where I get my flow.
If you want another degree, let me give you a little clue. Community college. It's really cheap.
Maybe I'll teach there, and
No, that's not what I was suggesting.
No, that'll be my next venture. So that's really, you know, that's just ingrained in who I am. So
The natural strength then.
yeah, it really is.
So what are the, I mean, you've done all kinds of stuff and you're a coach now. So what are the big insights that you've learned over your career that you can share with our listeners that are thinking about starting their own companies?
Well, how much time do we have? No, I'm just kidding. The thing about that is I started life, you know, as a single teenage mom, and only 2% of teen moms go on to get their bachelor's degree. And now I'm finishing my doctorate. And I think you have to realize that you can do anything you set your mind to, and really believe in the power of your mind and what you want to do, and confidence. And
Okay, but let me stop you for a second. Confidence doesn't pay the rent. What kind of support system did you have to allow you to do that?
I had a great husband who,
Well, I mean, but when you said you were a teenage single mom, you didn't have a husband at that point. So how did you keep going? What support system do you have to allow you to make that happen?
honestly, I really didn't have a support system. I mean, I was in Illinois and I didn't know anybody, and I had my son, and we were in school together.
Wow.
I was away from all my family. I made friends there, but I mean, I had gotten married and then gotten divorced. So I was pretty much on my own.
So that's a huge testament then, because so many people want to try and act like there's a reason why you were able to do that. And my question was leading you down that direction, and I'm glad you didn't take the bait, because there are ways for things to happen. It's just like going to college. There are ways to go to college without going into ridiculous debt. So, you know, congratulations on having accomplished that, but I also hope
Thank
that
you.
inspires people to find ways to do it and to not give up so easily.
Yeah, I mean, I can't lie and say, oh, I never had days where even with kids care, there were days where I just wanted to, well, I didn't want to. I did pull the covers over my head and say, I can't do this anymore. And I mean, Jason worked nights when we started the company, and we had the brand new baby, and you know, he'd walk in on a Friday morning and I'd have the covers pulled over my head, and he'd be like, get up, what are you doing? You know, if it was easy, everybody would do it.
You're the CEO. You've got to go.
Yeah, you got to go to work. We kind of need you today. So, but yeah, I mean, it's self-confidence and saying, you know what, you got one shot at this. Make it worth it.
One of the things I wanted to ask, so looking over the last 12 months, you know, what would you say has been your biggest high?
Oh, wow. My biggest high would probably be when I was named 2014 Top 3 Businesswomen of the Year for Texas. Yes.
Wow. Congratulations.
I know. Thank you. And also finishing my dissertation right before I celebrated my 3-year anniversary after my stroke.
I love what you call it.
My life anniversary.
The life anniversary.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was
Yes.
awesome.
September 18th is my life anniversary.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
I like that term.
Thank you.
And I mean, just a testament to you. Who? I mean, I don't know many people that have a stroke, have a setback like that, and then come back and say, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and take on that Pepperdine.
Yeah. I had it. The stroke happened my first semester, so I took that semester off, and then started back January of 2013. So, and then finishing right at. My dissertation has taken me less than a year.
Wow. So you're getting your PhD. You have 3 children, a company you own with what, 300 people in it. and you decide to go get your PhD. That's hard to believe, and then you come out and decide to start yet another company. I'm just in awe here.
Well, thank you.
And let's flip the coin though and turn the page. So let's talk about a low over the last 12 months. Biggest low.
The biggest low has been dealing with when you're in healthcare and you are affected by government policies and
Can't relate to that.
yeah, I'm sure. But dealing with the unknown, they had just projected or proposed 26% budget cuts, and Jason and I have all of our eggs in one basket, and we also have 300 people that look to us to run the company, and we support their families, and that's a huge responsibility, and I take it very seriously. And when they're proposing 27% cuts, we're looking at how to keep a business.
Most poorly, funded the state. Where are we comparatively to other states?
On our funding? Oh, well, we have more in our rainy day fund, and we live in a state that has a surplus. So this really came out of left field.
So whenever you are talking about funding that's gone down, funding from whom, and give me some context.
It's Medicaid, and it's the state of Texas.
Okay.
Luckily, there's been a kind of a hold on that right now, so we're kind of sitting in a waiting game again. And that's my low, is just not knowing, from day to day what's going to happen.
Uncertainty.
Right.
Now,
Exactly.
is this directly a function of the fact that a lot of your clients are special needs, or is this really not having anything to do with whether or not they're special needs?
It has everything to do with that. Texas has been targeted. The pediatric home care has been targeted to reduce Medicaid payments for speech, physical, and occupational therapy services for special needs kids.
Well, what you don't know is I'm on the board of My Possibilities in Plano, which is a adult program it's a day program for adults with cognitive disabilities. And so we get funding through similar programs and have seen those kinds of cuts continuing as well. So I know where you're coming from, and it's hard to figure out how to plan your business when you don't have any idea where the money's going to come from.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is.
Cortney, if we were all sitting here together 3 years from now, and we were to look back to today, what has to happen in your life professionally, personally, for you to feel satisfied with the progress you've made?
Well, that's a great question. I don't usually project 3 years out.
Yeah, that's a dangerous question for this woman.
Can we go ahead and get you to? Are you going to go ahead and announce that you're running for governor?
No, gosh, no.
Why governor is president?
No.
There's still a year.
Come on.
No, thank you. I'll let Carson and Trump and all those other candidates do that.
Baker for president.
No, sir. Gosh, Jason and I will have been married for 16 years, and we will have a 25-year-old son, and Grace will be 15, and Reagan will be 11, and Baker Management Group will be rolling. I will actually be doing speaking engagements nationwide or internationally. Why limit yourself?
Absolutely.
And Kids Care will have survived these detrimental cuts and be thriving, and we have 300 employees. 3 years, we could do 500 employees by then.
Nice.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Well, Cortney, thank you for having been our guest today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
really
me.
excited. It was fun. For our listeners, if you'd like to learn more about Cortney, please go to kidscaretherapy.com or bakermanagementgroup.com. And if you'd like to get in touch with Stephen or I or myself, you can reach us at nextlevelshow.com. You'll be able to find today's conversation both in audio and video. And you can also see who will be coming up in future shows. And you can even go back and listen to past shows, all the great guests we've had and all the good information we've learned from them. And you can also connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and see what updates are there for upcoming guests. Stephen, you got any other closing thoughts?
That was well said, Bob. Very, very
Was it?
well said.
And I want you to know, nothing on my electronics beeped or rang today.
Congratulations.
First time in 3 weeks.
I'm so proud of you.
We'll see you guys next
Welcome
week.
to the new era.
You have been listening to The Next Level, Conversations That Propel Business with Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons. Join us every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. for more prolific conversations that will take your business to the next level.